Summer classes were going along pretty well. Hieronymus found himself hosting detention pretty much every Saturday, and as much as he apologized for it, I didn't mind. I was pretty much inseparable from Donald, Ellen, and Virginia when he wasn't around anyway. The otherworld was considered a bit of a taboo subject of study, especially since Ellen and I were both wild seeds. Even still, we could all agree that we were all novices about the otherworld, and considering Jason had been raised there, it felt like he could explain a lot to us that we wouldn't be able to learn through textbooks. "Oh yeah, it's great there," Jason told us one day. "There are flowers that bloom chocolate. I kid you not. You know how kids around here go apple picking in the fall? Well, in the springtime, we have a May festival when flowers bloom and their stamen tastes just like chocolate. It was a great tradition growing up, heading out to those fields every spring and stuffing ourselves with as much chocolate as we could eat." "Excuse me, we are still talking about the other world, right?" Virginia asks skeptically, "because it sounds like you're describing heaven." They all laugh, but I just snort as I cross my arms over my chest. Jason can't help but take notice. "What's on your mind, Tori?" he asks. "I don't doubt what you're saying," I begin firmly, "but every story that you've told us makes it sound like the other world is fairy tales and rainbows, but that's not true at all. You know as well as I do that it's dangerous for people to just enter the other world. Bad things can happen there, things you can't take back." "She's at it again," Virginia whispers to Ellen, but I pretend I don't hear her. Lately, I've been what Virginia calls the Grabiner of the group, constantly reminding everyone that the other world was dangerous whenever Jason wanted it to seem like a tropical paradise. No, Jason says quickly. Tori brings up a good point. It's safer for some people over others. The creatures that live there tend to be friendlier towards those that are magical born, but if you're from a family of nobility, the pact that was created long ago guarantees protection to anyone bearing one of the select family names. So, even though you might not be magical born, you're safer entering the other world than most anyone here. They all turn around to look at me, and suddenly something hits me that I hadn't realized before. The menace that had tried to kill me and that led to my marriage the year before was sworn to protect the house of Grabiner. Since I had married Hieronymus, that meant that I was now a Grabiner, which seemed to mean that I was now under that protection as well. "Which is good to know if I ever intend to travel there," I say simply. "Right now I just want to learn how to ward effectively. Even if I don't go into the other world, warding in this world can still be effective." This launches Jason to lecture us on what kinds of wards are most effective in this world and what they can protect against, but the others seem disinterested by what he has to say. Even though Ellen usually took better notes than I did, I could tell that her usual attention was slipping. They all seemed to be singularly focused on going into the other world, and I could tell that I was the buzzkill who kept reminding them of all the things that could go wrong. Maybe I was becoming more like Hieronymus, but even still, I felt like I had to be the mature one in the group. Maybe it was because I was married, or maybe it was because of everything that I had experienced last year, but I no longer felt compelled to just have fun. I even stopped seeing a point to going to the arcade on the weekends. What good did jumping on a dance machine do? It wouldn't help me learn about the world around me, it wouldn't help me perfect my magic, and it wouldn't help me prepare against the dangers that were out there. I knew Hieronymus would say that I was getting old before my time, but at the same time, I couldn't help myself. I wanted Hieronymus to respect me, to treat me like his wife and not a teenager that he happened to accidentally get betrothed to. And although I knew it was important to still have fun, it felt like there would be a time for that later. Right now, I was in school, and I wanted to know all there was to know while I still had the school textbooks and resources available to me. One day, when Hieronymus and I were walking home together back from the library, we were suddenly interrupted by a flurry of feet that were racing straight towards us. "Incoming," Hieronymus mutters under his breath as he steps off the path and into the dirt. "What?" I ask. turning towards him only to get completely bowled over by Virginia as she barrels into me, and we both go tumbling down the path together as Hieronymous sighs loudly. "Tori!" Virginia yells again, and I suddenly just now realized that I had been so caught up in my own train of thought that I hadn't heard Virginia yelling my name all the way down the pathway. "Miss Danson, might I ask you to please explain yourself?" Hieronymous demands as he uses magic to pull us both to our feet. "William's here!" Virginia pants, a bit out of breath, and I turn to her sharply as I grab her shoulders. "William's here?" I demand, and we both do a happy little dance as we jump up and down, and Hieronymous rolls his eyes. William, Virginia's older brother, had been a senior when we first got to Iris Academy. He had taken me under his wing and explained a lot of the things at school and how they worked to me. He was really kind, and I was really disappointed that I hadn't gotten to spend as much time with him after he graduated. I hadn't actually seen him at all this year, although considering everything else that was going on, maybe that was actually for the best. "Let's go," Virginia says as she grabs my hand and pulls me down the path after her. Wait. I literally have to dig my heels into the asphalt to get her to stop as I turn back to Hieronymous. "Professor, sir, do I have permission to—" "Run along," Hieronymous says as he rolls his eyes, and I don't think twice about turning and running after Virginia. In the back of my mind, I do remember that Hieronymous had promised to run me a bubble bath tonight, but we could do that on any night. Who knew how long William would be staying for? I crossed my fingers that Hieronymous wouldn't be too jealous that I was abandoning my evening plans with him to spend it with another guy, but overall, I was excited to see William again. And he seemed just as excited to see me. He was sitting in the quad along with Donald and Ellen as we came running up to him. Upon seeing me, I jumped up to give him a hug, and he twirled me around in the air as he hugged me back. I forgot how much taller he was than me, and he puts his hands on my shoulders and makes sure I'm steady as he sets me down. "Hey there, Tori. Long time no see." "I can't believe you haven't been back all year," I say pointedly. "Where have you been? We missed you." "See," Virginia adds, "I told you that everybody here missed you. You need to get a job back here pronto." "A job?" I ask as I look up at him. "What have you been doing?" "Right now I'm pursuing teaching," William says as he grins at me. "I was thinking about coming back and doing my internship at Iris." "Yes, please," I say immediately. "You can be Grabby's understudy. I'm sure he wouldn't mind taking you on." They all laugh at this, but William looks a bit less sure. "I don't know. I mean, I didn't give him any trouble as a student, but I don't think he'd want to be bothered." "He still doesn't believe us," Ellen pipes up. "You've told me 100 times, and I still don't believe you," Donald adds. "Grabby? Being nice? It isn't possible. Tori's killed him and replaced him with a clone. That's what's happened." "Believe me when I say my magic nearly isn't advanced enough," I say as I roll my eyes. "I can totally ask for you if you want." "Maybe," William says with a shrug of his shoulders. "But if he says yes, will you do it?" Virginia asks excitedly. "Will you really come back to Iris and stay?" "We'll see, V," William says. "Now, how about we go get some food?" Food is Virginia's magic word, and so we race her to the cafeteria while William tells us stories about what life has been like after graduation. Most of the stories aren't really news to the rest of the group since they had already seen him before on holidays, but it was interesting to me to see what life could be like for someone who had graduated from Iris, someone who had the entire world open to them and where they wanted to go. "It's been nice catching up, but I actually want to talk to Tori for a minute," William says. "Catch up with you guys later?" "All right," Virginia says. "Just remember she's married, okay, William?" William rolls his eyes, and while the rest of them head off towards the dorms, we head off to the trails. It was getting dark, but it was clear that William wanted a private conversation. I hadn't really been on the trails myself ever since I remembered that Damien had attacked me and wiped my memories there, but right now I wasn't alone, and I could trust that William would protect me if anything happened. "Congratulations on that, by the way," William offers. "I don't know if I said it at the time, but it was only a temporary thing last year, wasn't it?" "Who knew I would actually end up liking being married to Grabby?" I tease. "You should have seen the way I cried and carried on when he told me that he was thinking about having us go our separate ways. I jumped out a window. It was super traumatic. William laughs and shakes his head, and I can tell he's unsure if I'm joking or not. So he's not bad to you then? He is literally the nicest person, I tell him, but William just laughs and shakes his head. Okay, if you don't believe that he's endlessly supportive of me and my education. Now that I believe, William agrees. He looks around the trees as if making sure we're alone before sitting down on a bench. Come sit with me, Tori. I want to talk to you. Haven't we been, though? I tease, before I suddenly remember that I had this conversation with Tommy, who turned out to be Damien. Was William actually who he said he was? I can feel my heartbeat in my chest, and so even though I sit down next to William, I can't help but pull the stone around my neck and give it a firm squeeze. Oh, wow, so you do have one of those, William says as he notices me fiddling with it. V mentioned Grabby got you one of those. Do you have any idea how much one of those costs? Honestly, I really don't want to know, I say as I pull my knees to my chest. Sorry, I'm just nervous. What did you want to talk to me about? Damien, William responds as he fixes me with a serious look. I can feel my blood run cold as the hairs stand up on my arms. I don't think I want to talk about that, I begin slowly. V told me what happened last year, William reminds me. And you know what he did to me freshman year? I want to know. Is he gone? Yes, he's dead, I tell him firmly. He's gone. He's not going to hurt anyone else anymore. But do you know that for sure? William asks. Did you see his body? No, I was a little bit dead at the moment, I remind him. But when I woke up, I remembered everything. He even said that one way to get my memories back was to kill him. And he's done too much and hurt too many people. If he was able to get through the wards one time, they wouldn't run the risk that he could break through them again. William shakes his head as he crosses his arms over his chest. I can't believe Potsdam would kill a student. Former student, I remind him. I'm just not sure I believe it, William insists as he turns to me seriously. What if he's still out there, watching, making his next move? My mouth opens, but I don't have an answer. What did Grabiner say? We haven't talked about it too much, as I say, as I shrug uncomfortably. Just that he's gone and he's not coming back. William shakes his head again as he looks up at the trees around him. Part of me wants to come back here. Part of me doesn't. My freshman year was really rough, as you probably recall me telling you. After Damien seduced me and rejected me, I lost my mind. They moved me from Falcon Hall to Wolf Hall, and I feel like I was never the same after that. And then after my oh-so-public breakup with Angela, it just felt like I couldn't wait to leave this place. A lot of bad things happened here, I agree. So why do you want to come back? V and Donald still have 2 more years here yet, he sighs. As much as I hate to admit it, I miss them. They're really lucky that they have each other here. We're not that far apart in age, but I'm off by myself all over again. It was hard when I first got to Iris and I was leaving right as they were entering, and now it feels like if I don't come back here, I'm going to miss my chance to spend time with them before they go out on their own. But you're not alone, I remind him. You have tons of friends, and you'll always be able to see them on holidays and stuff. They're your family. William shakes his head. It's something to consider, but I guess being a wild seed, it's different for you, isn't it? Ellen told me about your parents. I'm sorry. Don't be, I reply with a shrug. Hieronymous is here. He's my family now. Which makes you a noble, William teases, which leaves me to wonder how much Virginia and Donald had been telling him. I'm not sure what to say to that, and so I just shift uncomfortably in my seat. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. You didn't, I reply. I just don't like thinking about it, that's all. Hieronymus may still need to go back to England to be a viscount or something. I don't know. I don't even think of him as nobility, so it's hard for me to think about myself that way too, I guess. William nods in understanding. England is a long ways away. Would you think about going there? After you graduated from Iris, I mean? You mean if I live long enough to survive through graduation, I tease. but I don't know where I want to go yet. It's something Hieronymous and I have to talk about together. You graduated Iris free, unattached, and you can go anywhere you want to go. I'm a package deal. Wherever I go, we both have to agree to it. William considers this. That makes sense. Would you ever consider staying at Iris? I hesitate for a moment. I don't know. We got married here. I found and developed my magical abilities here. But I lost my memories on this very trail. I literally died in our gym. Pick a spot on this campus and I can tell you a time something really awful happened to me there. No kidding, William agrees. That's why I want to talk to you about it. V and Donald don't understand it the way that we do. I nod my head in understanding. If it helps even the smallest bit, at least we're handling it better than Grabby handled his losses, if packing up and jumping to another continent is anything to say about it. Huh? William asks. You mean the time he accidentally killed someone in a duel? Or was it not so accidentally? I hesitate for a moment. I'd forgotten that there were a lot of rumors about why Hieronymous left England out there. Honestly, I almost preferred this one to be true. It certainly sounded better than the truth. It's getting late, I say as I check the watch I wasn't wearing. Do you mind walking me back to my room? Oh, the room you share with your teacher now? William teases. What is it like anyway? It's nothing fancy, I say with a shrug. So what about it? Do you want me to talk to him for you? Maybe, William says, but he still looks unsure. What if we all got dinner at the Glen tomorrow night? I ask hopefully. Just you, me, and Grabby. No kids. That way you can see that he actually can be nice for yourself. I'll think about it, he says, but I don't know how to feel about you volunteering his time like this. Won't he be mad? He actually has a lot going on at the moment, I reply simply, which is why he could use an assistant to help pick up the slack. I hesitate. I just don't know who he would trust enough to relegate some of the work to. That's where I come in. I can vouch for you. As we approach my door, I can't help but knock on it awkwardly. I didn't want to just open it up, not knowing what state of undress Hieronymous might be in. Instead, he opens the door in his full dress uniform, looking every bit the part of a formidable teacher. Hieronymous, if you don't remember, this is William Danson, I say, keeping my voice as friendly as I can possibly make it. The oldest of the Danson siblings, Hieronymous muses as he looks from me to him. I remember. Come in. I smile at him as I walk inside, trying to be encouraging. William just steps through the doorway as if he was suddenly stepping into quicksand and might sink into the floor at a moment's notice. Thank you for inviting me in, sir, William says. It's good to see you again. The things that you taught me during my years here at Iris have set a solid foundation for my future studies. Hieronymous lets out a grunt as he crosses his arms over his chest and looks away, but I can tell that he's secretly pleased. It's good to know at least someone in your family knows how to pay attention. Hey, Virginia pays attention, I say, but stop with one scathing glance from Hieronymous. You know, most of the time. I actually have a question to ask you, sir, William says hesitantly as he looks at me, and I nod my head quickly in confirmation, already predicting what he's going to say. Can we go to the Glen tomorrow night so we can talk about me coming back to intern at Iris? That's what I thought he was going to say. Instead, he worded his question a bit differently. Sir, is Damien really dead?